What's going on, guys? Don Marino here, and today I got something definitely a little bit different. I'll be talking about the Xbox Series X. I really wanted to do this video. It's not like it's not an early on video talking about everything that was talked about. I'm not trying to break the news to anyone. It is coming out a little bit late. It's just kind of my thoughts on this new generation and the Xbox itself, and what it might mean for PC gaming and what it might mean for consoles going forward, and if this might be the last generation of consoles we may get. Now, I think it's interesting how the new Xbox is being really compared to PCs and how it's just really being talked about as a PC. And that's interesting because that's kind of how it's being seen, and obviously going forward that's just what's going to happen with things becoming more powerful and PC components coming down in price. That I think that was just a natural next step for the new consoles coming out. Now you have to think in this generation, even early on when the Xbox just came out and the PlayStation 4 had just come out, there was this point where PCs were really expensive to build because the Bitcoin mining was taking off and all this stuff was happening, where a console just made sense at $400-500. It was just a better choice. It was easier, it was streamlined. You didn't build anything. There was no this whole, what PC components do I get? What do I do for what I want? And it made it really easy, but it might not be the case going forward. Now, I only say it might not be the case going forward because there's this idea that, like I said, building a PC back then was cheaper, but maybe not going forward, because we're at a point where something that you build for $500 will get you good performance, and that's just gonna keep getting better. And there's gonna be this critical mass where we reach this point where PC components and games only need to be so good, and games can only look so good. Now, if we take, for example, what they showed us with the release of the Xbox Series X, we see that it looks amazing. The footage they gave us looks absolutely tremendous. Like, I'm hyped. If it's actually gonna look like that, that's crazy, but it's not. That was in engine, and it's not gonna look quite as good as that. There's gonna be some downgrades in the graphics there. Now, depending on the price, I know it said that 4K is going to be kind of the standard for the new console at 60 frames per second. Now, building a machine that can handle 4K at 60 frames per second right now, maybe similar price, maybe a little bit more expensive than an Xbox. However, in 3 years, 4 years, in the middle run of the next generation consoles, it might not be that way. It might be that building a computer is just the better choice. Because as of today, it might not be. If all you want to do is play Apex or Call of Duty, or you want to play the new Fallen Order game, and that's all you want to do, that's it. You don't want anything special, you don't want anything flashy, you just want to plug something in and play it, buying a slim PlayStation or the Xbox without the optical drive for, I think, $150 now is just a good choice. You're not going to build a PC for that cheap. The only way you're building a PC for that cheap is by going out and budgeting things and looking for like scrapyard finds and going and getting everything used and really having a depth knowledge of what things are worth and what things pair well together. And that's not going to happen for everyone. For a lot of people, it's just going to be cheaper and more time efficient. It's just go over to the store, spend the $200, buy the game they want, plug it in, and play. So coming back to the actual Xbox Series X, I do like the idea that kind of the way cars are, or the way, things are, even PC components, how there's different series. You got your GTX 1660, 2070s, you have the series, there's a spectrum. I like the idea that there might be a spectrum when it comes to the Xbox. There might be the S, which is your low end version, and it's kind of, if you just want to play at 60 frames a second at 4K, like that's your starting option, and that's going to be good for a lot of people. Or if you really want to play at 120 frames per second at 4K, then they're going to have that option. I think that's a really good idea on their part. Now, design-wise, I think the memes are hilarious, throughout the whole thing. However, I think it was completely designed around efficiency and not to take up a lot of space and to cool itself very well. Now, if that wasn't the sole reason for the square design, then it was just a lazy design. Like all around just lazy and just not appealing at all. One thing with me also saying how building a PC might be the better option in this next generation because prices are coming down, and there will be this point where once the next generation of graphics cards and processors and everything comes out, there may be a point very soon where building a PC is that cheaper option. Now, with that, something I'm curious about is if this next generation will last longer than the previous, because this one seems pretty future proof. Now, I wonder if within this next generation of consoles, 8K will be adopted, and that'll be something that everyone wants and needs from their console, and then you're gonna have to come out with something more powerful to kind of keep up with the 8K. So that's a prediction I'm making, is that this next generation of consoles is gonna last a while. The run will be long, and there's going to be many different iterations, and I definitely think that Microsoft and Sony have realized that coming out with a new model halfway through the run life, something a little bit more powerful, something that just kind of keeps up with what's happening, is the better option than revamping the entire one and coming out with something fresh and new. So of course, since Xbox kind of jumped the gun and came out with their announcement a lot sooner than PlayStation has, it's going to be interesting to see if the PlayStation is anything different than what they intended. If they're looking at Microsoft and like, hey, we need to do something different, or if they're like, oh, we got a slam dunk, we have something so much better than they had announced. So that'll be interesting. You know, Xbox kind of put it in Sony's court and was like, here you go, we did it first. We have the hype buzzing around us right now. We got the memes backing us up. What do you guys got? Alright, so that was really just my take on the consoles. I don't want to really, throw out a bunch of information because there isn't a lot yet. However, I just wanted to talk about my theory on, console gaming versus PC building in the future, and when they might collide, and when there might be this point where building the PC is the better option. Because right now, if all you want to do is throw on a game and, make it really simple and streamlined, it's not the option yet. I also want to know what you guys really want from the next generation console. Now, what I mean by that is, I know for me, I like to stream. I think something like a fully fleshed out version of OBS or something along those lines would be great. Like, imagine, you want to stream and there's, these new consoles are going to be powerful. So they're going to have the ability to encode the video much better than the current generation, and I think that'll be interesting. One other thing I want, and I'm really talking to Sony here, not Microsoft, and that's because I don't play on the Xbox much. I've never really been an Xbox person. I'm PlayStation Nation, but the internet card inside of the PlayStation is bad, like really bad. I think that needs huge improvement. And I think that needs a big improvement because I think we're going to see streaming games become a big thing with this next generation. I think there might be a console that's strictly for streaming games. But, of course, that's a different video. So definitely down below, let me know what you guys really want to see different from this generation console than we saw from the last one. And, of course, as always, till I got something else for you guys. Thanks for watching.